everyone, welcome to my channel, Chosen and Grounded. My name is Sydney, and on this channel I like to address issues in church culture and social issues and how they both intertwine together. On this episode, I want to take a minute to talk about boundaries and to explain what boundaries are and how to create them from that. So often you always hear how important boundaries are to have, how important it is to operate with boundaries with other people, but very rarely do you ever get a video talking about what those boundaries actually are and the differences between emotional boundaries and physical boundaries. Because I didn't know emotional boundaries was a thing until I had to do my own research because of some things that I had experienced. So I was trying to figure out how to create more boundaries in my life. Very often we hear this word empathy thrown around. Everywhere on YouTube, at church, you always hear the word empathy, but what does empathy actually mean? The actual definition of empathy is simply the ability to understand how someone feels. However, I think that culture has gotten the concept of cognitively being able to understand how someone feels and actually feeling someone else's emotions mixed up together, because those are two different things. You can understand how someone else feels without having to feel exactly how they feel. You want to be able to protect yourself and your emotions from being affected by the emotions of others. You want to be able to be there for people and understand how people feel without their feelings completely taking over yours. And this is where emotional boundaries come in. Emotional boundaries is not taking on other people's emotions. So violations of emotional boundaries would be taking ownership of someone else's feelings, taking responsibility for someone else's feelings, or someone else's feelings dictating your own. And so in order to create these boundaries, it allows you to be able to tell the difference between your emotions and someone else's, and then being able to draw a line in the sand and say, just because you're feeling this way, I don't have to. How do I feel? And become grounded in how you feel. A lot of times when people can feel the emotions of other people, it's because they had to based on the environment that they grew up in when they were little, as little kids. And I didn't understand this until, I was on TikTok and I heard someone explain empathy in a way that it was never explained before. They said empathy, the concept, which I think it was used wrong. I think the word was used wrong, but she said that the ability to actually feel how someone else feels was developed in the situation where you had to, because you had unpredictable people in your life at a young age, where you had to read the room. You had to understand how someone else feels in order to act accordingly, in order to stay safe in that situation. So that's not necessarily a good thing, because that means that you have an overactive nervous system active all the time. Your entire idea is, how can I maneuver my emotions and how can I watch everybody else's emotions to make sure that I'm in a good place, to make sure that I am safe. And when you get older, you need to grow out of that mindset and be like, wait a minute, I don't have to be responsible for anybody else's feelings but my own, which is a huge amount of freedom to anybody who never really had that option before until now. Now that you're older, you can be, the only person's emotions I have to process, worry about, take responsibility for are my own. And I also want to talk about physical boundaries. Physical boundaries include your body, your personal space, and your belongings, like the things that you own. So violations of physical boundaries would be standing too close, touching inappropriately, or going through your personal files or phone without your permission. And I had to learn that this was a violation of my physical boundaries, listening to someone listening in on your conversations without your consent. So you could be on the phone with someone and have someone in the corner just listening to your conversations. It's creepy, yes, and it's not okay. It's not okay for someone to listen in on your conversations. That's a boundary crosser. And I want to talk about this because I feel like it's so important to, once we understand what boundaries are, then we can actually set them up. And I think it's very important to be able to have these so that we can operate at our most healthiest self and realize that our ability to understand how someone feels and our ability to be a caring person is not tied to taking on other people's emotions. That's not healthy for us. As long as we are able to understand how other people feel cognitively and be there for people, that's the part that matters. You don't have to take on other people's emotions to care about people. It's important to take care of yourself and make sure your emotions are in a healthy place. Okay, well, that was it for this video. I hope that it was helpful. I hope that it help things make more sense between cognitive empathy and being there for people versus actually having your emotional boundaries violated. And I hope that this can help more people create emotional boundaries so that they can have their emotions protected. I hope you have a great day. I hope you guys had a fun Valentine's Day with that 50% off chocolate for all the single people like me. So I hope you guys have a nice week. I'll see you next Monday. Bye, guys. Oh, before I leave, I think next Monday we are going to be talking about and diving into the issues of sexism and misogyny in church culture and ways that can be changed so that more women are protected in the church. And I cannot wait to get into it. So, with further ado, have a nice week, guys. Bye.